Morning, dear students. Welcome back to yet another session of English class. So today it's Sound of Music for class 9 students. You have a lesson by the name Sound of Music. Well, before we get into the lesson, I want to tell you something about the differently abled people. I hope you understand the meaning of this word, differently abled people. For example, if somebody is not able to see, to put it in a very sharp language, if the person is blind, visually impaired, you call that person as a differently abled person. If somebody is not able to speak, for example, he is dumb, that person is known as a differently abled person. We all know this. You can also call people who are not able to walk as physically challenged people. Okay, so the blind, the deaf, the lame, that is those who are not able to walk, they all come under this category, differently abled people. But these differently abled people, they lose one faculty. For example, the blind, they use the faculty of seeing, but that particular faculty is being compensated by another one. What do I mean by compensated by another faculty? Those who are blind will be able to play some musical instruments in a wonderful manner. They can play the violin, they can play the guitar, they can blow the trumpet, they can play the keyboard or piano or some other musical instrument. They have the talent for that. So they lose the vision or they lose their sight, but the loss of sight is compensated by another creative activity. That is playing a musical instrument, or some might be good at making furniture. For example, they might be able to make good chairs. And there are some people who are differently abled people who can do wonderful paintings. They become wonderful and world famous artists. So I can give you some examples for this category, Let's start with Thomas Alva Edison. You know who Thomas Alva Edison was. He was one of the greatest scientists the world has ever given to us. And he had invented more than 1,000 inventions, even the electric bulb, the phonograph, and there are many other things that fall in the list. This man, Thomas Alva Edison, was hard of hearing because when he was young, he was beaten by a train driver, and because of that, he lost the capacity to hear. But with that challenge, with that shortcoming, he went on to give the world more than 1,000 inventions. So you see, Helen Keller, most of us know who this woman is. She lost her power of seeing, or she lost her vision when she was a small girl. But that did not keep her back. With the help of a teacher, Mrs. Sullivan, she went on to complete her studies. She was the only woman, physically challenged woman, only blind woman to get admitted into a college. And she completed a graduation. And she was excellent in all the subjects. She had a terrific command in Greek literature, in English literature. She had completed reading the Bible once, and she was talented with many other resources. So Helen Keller is a good example for this differently abled people. And again, you might have heard this name, Beethoven. Beethoven was a German music composer, and his musical pieces are being played and listened to even today. But this German musician in the later part of his life lost the power of hearing. But that did not deter him. That did not keep him back from performing. He went on to give some of the best musical pieces once he became deaf. So you see, physically challenged people or differently abled people can achieve so much in spite of their weakness or in spite of their shortcoming. So today we are going to discuss one such personality who was differently abled. And you know who that personality is? She is none other than Evelyn Glenn. She was a young girl and was very much interested in playing the xylophone. Xylophone is a musical instrument which is made with some wooden pieces, and then you have two sticks to strike on them. She was interested in playing this. But you know what happened in the life of this girl? When she was 8 years old, she lost the power of hearing. She could not hear. She became deaf. And her parents noticed that she was not able to hear when she had to play the piano in the school one day. The names of the students who were supposed to play the piano were called out one by one, and all of them went and started playing the piano. But then finally, when Evelyn's name was called, she was not able to hear, so she was just standing. And the teachers noticed that something was wrong with this girl. And then Evelyn felt very much inferior to other students. She did not tell other students that she was not able to hear because she had a complex. She was afraid to tell that. But the marks in her subjects began to be deteriorated. What is the meaning of deteriorated? Her performance was becoming poorer and poorer. So what happened was her parents, they became very much worried about Evelyn. They started questioning, now what makes Evelyn to perform so badly? What is the reason for her poor performance? Then they came to a conclusion that she needs to be taken to a doctor. And finally, when she was taken to a doctor, the doctors told that her nerves were no longer functioning. So, the nervous system of Evelyn Glen had been damaged. They were no longer working, and because of that, she lost the capacity to hear. You know, the nervous system in our body plays a very important role. It is responsible for the performance of all functions, our speech, our hearing capacity to hear, our ability to see, our ability to taste, our ability to touch. All these actions are dependent on the nervous system that we have. So if the nervous system is not functioning, we will not be able to do the normal activities the others do. So that was the problem with this girl, Evelyn Glen. But the point to be noted is, though her nerves were damaged, she wanted to lead a normal life. She did not want to give up. She did not want to show others that she did not have the capacity to hear. She wanted to prove herself that she could be a normal girl and she could lead a normal life just as anybody else. One day, she was noticing another girl playing the xylophone. Xylophone is a small musical instrument which is made of wooden pieces or wooden blocks, so to say, and you take two sticks and then play on them, and a beautiful, pleasing, melodious sound is produced. So when Evelyn Glen watched that girl playing that xylophone, she thought that she could also do the same. But her teachers discouraged her. They came to understand that Evelyn is not a normal girl. She's a differently abled girl and she would not be able to perform like any other girl. But there was one person who changed Evelyn's life. He is none other than Ron Forbes. This Ron Forbes was a percussionist. You know the meaning of the word percussionist? It means a person who plays musical instruments such as drums. There are different kinds of drums, and the people who play these drums are known as percussionists. And Ron Forbes was a percussionist. He understood the problem with Evelyn, and he said, Evelyn, don't worry. You can succeed and you can perform things in the normal way just as the other students do. So he gave her a suggestion. You know what that suggestion was? The suggestion was that feel the vibration of the music. Don't listen to the music, but just feel the vibration. And Evelyn started giving a thought. So one day, when Ron Forbes was playing drums, she just stood there and she started to feel the vibration of the drums. And for her surprise, she could understand that the vibration of the big drum, there were two drums, the vibration of the big drum was felt by the upper part of her waist. And the vibration of the small drum was felt by the lower part of her hip. Now she learned one lesson. Okay, if I am able to listen to the vibrations made by the instruments, I can play the instruments. And that turned the life of Evelyn round, and there was a big change in her life. And after that, she went on to practice more than 1,000 instruments. Believe me, more than 1,000 instruments. And what happened in her life after Ron Forbes came, we shall discuss in another class. Till then, goodbye and take care. But before we conclude, let me give you a side note today. The side note is that the world is celebrating the Earth Day. Today is being celebrated as Earth Day. And all of us know that the earth right now is going through a difficult time, difficult situation. Everyone has been affected by the epidemic, the coronavirus. And you know, the global warming, the issues that this earth is facing today. There is global warming, there is pollution, there seems to be population problem, and there are several other problems associated to this earth. And you know, we have destroyed this earth. So today is a day that makes us remember that we need to protect this earth. We need to save the resources that the earth has given us. Let us save electricity. Let us save our energy to do something constructive. For example, if we can plant some small trees and make this environment a healthy one, we can do that. Let us not use more plastic. Let us minimize the use of plastic. Let us keep our surroundings clean. Let us keep all our resources clean. Let us respect the earth, because the days that are to come are going to be really challenging, and we are going to face a lot of problems. There's going to be a food shortage. There's going to be a population problem, unemployment problem. But if you respect this earth and try to protect the environment of the earth, I think the generations which are to come will definitely have a peaceful life. So with this thought, let us wind up the class today, and we'll see the rest of Evelyn's life in the next class. Goodbye.